All right, and I think that we are live in the group. I'm just checking. Yes, my there is something wrong with my camera, guys, but I'm so sorry for that, for the technical issues. But you know what? We got to do what we got to do. I am so sorry that we're late. Technology, you know how it is. Anyway,
Mm.
we have to get going. But I have the wonderful, the multi-talented. Um, I hope I'm saying this right. So her name is Malia Yusuf Bertin. Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's fine. Because you see,
Okay,
Burton is a French name, so
good.
that's fine. I don't
Ah,
expect,
from Bertin.
but exactly. So most
Okay,
people
all
don't
right,
pronounce it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. So I'm just
Yeah.
so excited. I do hope some of you could join us. Again, I am sorry that it is a little bit late, but anyways, so like I said, this is our second speaker of the weekend, and we've chatted a little bit. I've read her book,
Mhm.
101 Ways to. I'm going through it. I'm going through it. So it's 101 ways to transform your life. Did I say that right?
Yeah, 101 plus ways.
101 plus ways to transform your life.
Yeah.
And we've spoken a little bit. I've connected with her a little bit. And it's like it's been like amazing to get to connect to you, first of all. And just like our conversations, it's like we've almost experienced the same things. I think a lot of people who are watching this or who might like sort of view this over the weekend might have similar experiences. What do you think?
Yeah. So thank you very much, first of all, for such a warm welcome. And I'm so happy to be here, and actually more happy for you as well, for your book is about to be launched,
Thank
and
you.
I just can't wait to read it and let you know how I felt about that. And that day we had a very short conversation, but that was awesome because we just connected through a WhatsApp, the Instagram message, and then we spoke for a little bit. So that was amazing in itself. And uh, I don't see you.
Keep going.
Ah, okay. So yes, how is it for you today?
It's really crazy just trying to deal with all the technology.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So with the technology, it is what it is. But we're here, and the point is to get a conversation out there. So I think I see myself now. It's not the best, but we just got to
Oh,
keep
no.
going.
Yeah,
It's okay. We just got
it's
to
good.
keep going. So, why don't you just introduce yourself? Talk about who you are, what you do, um, and just tell us.
Yes. So, as you read one of my books, I've written two books, and one was fiction, which I started from. The other was 101 Plus Ways to Transform Your Life. And through that came up the idea that I should actually kind of help people and create this transformation in their life that I so wish and I so live. Sky is the limit, and it is a long way to go, of course. So from that came the idea of, life coaching. I just went on to one of this diploma sessions, a 2-day class. And from there, I felt like, man, this is for me. So I registered myself for this diploma, which is still in process. And thank you to COVID. It doesn't help. So it has delayed a little bit, but that's fine. Hopefully, I'll get there. So that's there. And from there, I felt that they were actually, I was coaching a couple of people, and I felt what I was doing was not just life coaching. So I felt like I was more mentoring people. So I felt like I need to be sure of what I do. So that opened another door of mentorship. So I said, well, that's interesting because that gives me the idea to mentor people in the sense that help them with my own experience and advise them what is best for them. In the end, of course, we know you decide for yourself. But
Of
that
course.
opened the possibility for the mentorship. And I did a small course on that as well online. And I'm still studying, I'm reading books, I'm all over the social media. I just love all of that. Hopefully, I should write another book. And I don't know, sky's the limit. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going somewhere. So I do many
Anything.
things. It's hard to say. By profession, I'm a banker, and that's also what I love to do. So let's see.
That's okay. I mean, a lot of us find ourselves, like myself included. I find myself in that situation where just I'm a teacher, so I think we're all headed down like a certain path at a certain
Yes.
point, right? So you talked a little bit about how you got started. Was there anything like in particular that led you to where you are now? Is there any kind of story that you can share?
Well, many to share, many failures to share, but I think the first I'll start with, which brings me to the writing, and it was just, it reminded me yesterday while I was talking to my father. So 2011 was the first time I actually started to sort of write, and I didn't know that I would turn up writing a book. I don't call myself a writer still. I just think that I enjoy doing what I do. I don't know whether it's a book published. It just happened to be like that. So the first thing I wrote, which was properly written, meaning like so enjoyed it from my heart and soul, was a love you and thank you letter for my parents. And it was a big kind of a booklet. I don't know how many words were there, quite big. And I kept it on the side of the bed for him to read. And I slept and I said, okay, let's see what, because I didn't know it was just something I did from my heart and I enjoyed it and I was crying and he did so much for me, like very
Oh,
emotional kind of a love letter. Yeah, 2011. And and I didn't want to face that his reaction. It could be what is this? It could be he might not be interested. So I didn't know what was coming next. I just put it around his bed and I went to sleep, like as if nothing has happened. And let's see what happens. Next day he called me and he said, beta is like darling in Urdu. So he said, darling, you know what? You're a writer. And I said, that's new. I said, okay. And I was expecting him to say something like, that's the worst thing you've done or whatever. But he said, that's such lovely thing you've done. And it was such a beautiful piece I read in the night. And I said, did you actually read it? He said, yeah, I put on my glasses and I read it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. I like it. So that's how it initially started. And I had no clue that I would write ever in my life or anything like that. So from there, I so enjoyed writing articles on different things. And while I was also exploring my other journey of self-love, which we touched upon, which came through a breakup when deep inside me, I kind of didn't like myself. And I thought I was too tiny. Nobody would marry me. And, yes, I thought I was not very successful in terms of, I was not like that girl who had it all together and I couldn't play tricks with men. So I knew nothing about dating life or my love life. So I felt like nobody would marry me or anyways, and my life is just going to be this miserable for the rest of my life. So I kind of hated myself. And then I was in a relationship and coming from this very insecure and fearful place, like, get married to me and tell me you love me. And like we all do, we're looking for all this love from the outside. Somebody has to appreciate us. Somebody has to validate us. Somebody has to love us. Somebody has to tell us we're the best. And I was no different. But that actually turned the tables. I mean, from that, one day I decided that the guy didn't respect me, and the guy was just like kind of insulting me day in and day out. And it was not just him insulting me; it was just my own self being reflected in him, which was what I held about myself, that I'm not worthy enough. I'm a piece of crap, whatever. So treat me whatever. That's what I thought about myself. And he was doing the same, like treating me like who doesn't care, who would get into my eyes and say, you know what, you don't know how to put an eyeliner. You know what, your English is so bad. You know what, you this and that, whatever. I was taking it and I was taking continued for a little bit, 5, 6 months maximum. But then one day I said to myself, I can't take it because it gets very painful when every day you're being like humiliated like this. And it was never ending. And there was even the way, somebody introduces you, it says a lot about what they think about you. So the way he would introduce me to his family and friends were like, she's very boring. She likes old music. She has no interest in her life. And I didn't like it. We all know because we have this innate desire to be loved and respected. So I felt it like this is not what I want. But deep inside, this is what I thought about myself. So So one day I told myself that, there has to be a decision on this. I can't just linger on because I could see my physical body, my performance at work was declining, my physical health was declining. I used to be more depressed and more sad. And when you're depressed and you're sad, you can't really perform at work. And whatever you do doesn't is the opposite of what you want to basically have. You want to have a good life, you want to have a good performance and be the best, but you can't because you're not happy and somebody is just pulling you down all the time. So one day I just took the decision and I said, that's it. I mean, I have to move on in my life. So I wrote him a message saying, you know what, it's over. That was a funny one. I don't know where I got this courage from, but I did it. So I said, you know what? But actually, there was a story behind that, but that's not important. The important is that I thought he didn't keep a commitment. We made a commitment, and I thought he's going to keep his words, which he didn't. So that's a story. It doesn't matter. But I just picked up my phone and I'm waiting for him to keep his words and show up, and he didn't. So I got my answer. So I sent him a message saying, you know what? It's over. Because for me, it was like, if a man cannot keep his words, I don't think I can be with this guy. For me, my commitment is very important. And that was one of the things that I learned from that respect was also very important for me. So that was it. And then from that, this inner journey started that we talk about, and all this idea that I love myself. And then there came a time after, I think, a couple of years when I moved to Dubai. I actually, on my 30th birthday, I mean, I was very late, sorry about that, but when I turned 30, I said, I'm the best version of myself and I love myself. And it continued from, slowly, slowly, slowly. And I said, I'm the best version of myself, sky's the limit. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, things are happening, but I'm the best. And some people thought I was narcissist or I was so self-obsessed. And some people still think, because if you on you, so the inner work started from this that you want to ask me. I think that's your next question. So that's how this, yeah.
Exactly. I think like so many of us have like a similar story, especially we have like this, there's this like, in my other speaker, I mean, when I spoke with Natalie, she says the same thing. It kind of started like with this breakup. For me too, it kind of like started with that breakup, and you kind of like come to that like sort of like realization that
Yeah.
you know what, this is not right for me. And slowly you like you start to see, okay, you know what, something's not right here. I have some inner work to do. And that's actually, I think it's really empowering. And not a lot of people like to share their breakup stories. Not a lot of people like to admit that, you know what, like I texted someone and to say that like I broke up with them. That's what I'm understanding in this case, right? Right. And like I've done the same thing. I've sent people like my bad breakup. It was like I sent the person a message. So we have been there at this point where um in the situation that has been so negative for us, has taught us so much. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. Like really, I don't
I
know,
can
great.
laugh about that now. But no, actually, I'll tell you, there's another thing, and why I can actually tell you about any crazy story of my life, because I feel that those are blessings. These are blessings in disguise, and we don't realize while we actually have that experience. But when we actually walk through that and we come out of that, we understand that was so, so important. So that one of the most blessed experience, because that's how I started to understand what self-love was all about. It was not easy, of course. Then you have to face yourself and tell yourself, okay, this is me, I've done this, I want to change. And then you cry, and then all of that vulnerability. But that's part of who I am today. I can't believe that. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here happily married, and a man flew from London to me, that. So I'm the winner at the end of the day. I did I got what I wanted. So it's a success story.
Exactly, and you're here today, and that's you're smiling. You weren't. Some of us are not always smiling in the situation, but it's great to see. Like we're just, I think, like examples of overcoming it and getting to a point where we can smile again. So that's it's incredible.
Oh, thank
I
you.
have a question for you, and I hope that it could help with anybody watching right now or in the replay. If you are watching right now, everyone, just give us some likes, give us some hearts. If you have any questions for Malia, please just like let us know, or you can post them in the replay after. So we talked a little bit about. I just want to know for those watching. So, why is it important for others to do um, their own inner work, and how can it help them? How can it help their lives? Like, how does doing the inner work help others?
See, I've been talking about this with a couple of people now, and very recently I spoke to a friend of mine, and I'll share an example so that if somebody wants to relate to that. So basically, we all have a life situation, and some of them are not the best. And we
Mhm.
know, like I knew in my heart that this is not what I want. We all know it. But courage is very important. We all need to have the courage to actually step out of situations that doesn't help us. And I think the only thing needed is this courage. And this courage only comes when you're honest to yourself, and that you can't do unless you unless you have this self thing, this is me, and I can't lie to myself. I mean, even today I don't lie to others, but I don't lie to myself. I mean, people expect me sometimes, to act and pretend a certain way, but I say I can't. I don't lie. If I don't like something, I don't like. I can't change how I feel about it or how I think about it. But the problem is that most people want to go the other way. Now let's try to please people. Let's try to just follow the tradition. Let's do what the culture says. Let's do what the mom says and grandma says and the boss says. And you have nothing of your own. Why? Because you think you're not worthy enough, and you don't value yourself. If you don't value yourself, nobody else will. You have to value yourself, and you have to tell yourself, man, I'm not that what somebody can treat me. People have to learn to respect me. And that doesn't come always from people, unfortunately. And you have to tell them how to respect yourself. And that's what I've learned all along. So there's this friend of mine, she's in a relationship, and the guy doesn't care about her. He has his own life, he drinks, and he is grumpy with her all the time. He doesn't care about the children, he doesn't care about anything. He has his own thing. And she's upset and she's stressed, but she doesn't want to do anything. And she says, that's what fate has decided for me. And it took me like giving her this big lectures. That's what I'm saying, the transformations. I'm trying to transform people. I'm trying to open them to a new era that, see, it doesn't work this way. You're living in 21st century. You can do, be, create whatever you want to. Don't give me that what few decades women used to think, I have nowhere to go. Please, you have a way to go. There's always a choice. Every single moment of your life, you're making a choice, even whether you know it or you don't know it. Most people don't want to own because they don't like what they've created. So they bring in the context, the devil made me do things now. And if say something good happened, we say, God did this for me. And where are me? Where are you? Somewhere in the context, it's you. But we like to, put people into these boxes saying, she was lucky, that's why she got this man. Okay. But they don't know where she's coming from and what the work she's done all along. That they doesn't know. So if nobody wants to change their life, I can't do anything. So I had no biggest example, as I told you, no biggest example of the best relationship. But for me, I read books. I mean, Steve Harvey, I tell my husband, whatever my dating life or my love life changed. Thank you to Steve Harvey. Thank you to Louis Hay. Thank you to Neil Donald. I mean, they've opened me to new things. But I was the one who bought and read. So the effort has to come from you. You have to have the willingness to change your life. And if you don't have that, no matter how many sessions me and you're going to do, or no matter how many books people write, nothing can change. It just comes from you. You see what I mean? And then, so the next is, now that she knows that she's in this relationship and it's not serving her, she had a choice. Either to say, okay, this is my fate, I can't do anything about it, or stand up and say, no, I need to have a better life. And most women who stood up for themselves, they have made their lives. And we have so many examples of that. So it's not a rocket science, but it needs courage. It needs a lot of courage. You have to, because you're stepping in this unknown, you don't know what's going to happen. But then your trust and your faith comes in. You have to trust that you're being guided, you're being supported. God is there. I mean, if you haven't figured out your relationship with God, high time. Think about it. What is your soul? I mean, all of that. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. I so love that you said that. And there are some people who are watching this. We are gonna have that conversation tomorrow in regards to that conversation about God and in the relationship with God. I am so happy that you said that, there are so many people who will put the blame externally. I just love what you said right there. And it is, you're right. Like there, like even for myself, there was a point where people would like talk to me and say, "Oh, you've got to love yourself and everything." And I'm just like, "What do you mean I have to love myself?" And I was like, and there may be some people here watching this who they know. So there's two sides, I think, where there's one side where they know it's wrong. They know that it's not right. And they
Yeah,
don't, they haven't mustered up the courage, like you said, to leave or to do the thing that they want. It doesn't have to be the relationship, right?
yeah,
Or and then there's that other side where they feel like they have an obligation to someone. You don't have an obligation. The only
there's no
obligation that
obligation.
you have is to yourself. And
Yeah,
that's what I want so many people to know. And it is important to get kind of um, honest with yourself and have that conversation with yourself. And I think this goes in line sort of like with our next question. I could
yeah,
talk to you all day. There's like so much that we can talk about.
yeah,
But we have to kind of keep this short.
yeah.
We've talked a little bit about like finding your inner peace. I think your book mentions it. Um, and I was like, for me, and this is what I hope others watching maybe they can recognize it, because some people don't understand what inner peace is or what's not being in peace or at peace means. Like for me, it's like sort of like this feeling where it kind of like starts in your heart, and it's like a burning sensation, and it goes up into your head, and it's like your brain is kind of cloudy and you just want to burst out crying. Maybe like just you're sad, your brain is kind of foggy. So can you talk a little bit about that? What does it look like or feel like when you're not at peace? And then what does it look like when you feel like you have inner peace?
See, the thing is, words are limited because it's a language, you see. And
Mm-hmm.
not every experience can be, mentioned or said or expressed in words. And that's why people do poetry. That's why there are these beautiful songs and lovely lyrics where, you kind of say, oh, that's in poetry, you see. So it's hard to actually explain how it would feel, but I think what it is being connected, being one with everything, being one with life, being one with like and for everybody it's different. Some people would experience that when they walk in a park. I mean, sometimes I used to back as I said, 2011 or 12, whenever I was making these big decisions, I used to stop my car and just walk around in the park. And I used to connect with myself. And for many days, I used to make walk my routine because that really helped me connect with myself. And I felt like this was the very beautiful time of my life because it was precious and it was a feeling unexplainable. So peace is when you are connected, when you're not bothered by what is happening. For example, if somebody says, you know what, you're fat, you know what, you're not doing great, you don't have to be bothered by that. You know what you're up to, you know what you're doing. So many people like me, so many people hate me. It doesn't bother me because I know what I'm doing and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. It doesn't bother me who likes me, who doesn't like me, who cares about me, who doesn't care about me. I don't look for a validation, and I'm not a people pleaser. I don't go and tell, you know what, you're the best. I don't do that, and I don't expect as well. So you have to find your own way where you can find that connection with yourself, which is in the heart, in the soul, not in the mind. And for that, you have to get out of here because if you keep having this mind, this is how I want peace to look like, it doesn't happen that way. You have to let go of this idea of how peace is and experience that in your body. And as you said, you can have an experience of some tingling across your body, some fibers, some atoms, something happening in your body. And you can sense it that this is peace, this is connection. But it starts from yourself because if you look for that peace outside, for some through somebody or through achievements or through what can make me happy, so now let's travel, so now let's buy a big car, not let's buy a big house, none of that will give you peace. This peace is here inside when you connect with yourself, and what you do, you still keep doing that, but that has nothing to do with how you feel. It can uplift you for a little bit and then go away. What happens, in love, when you're in love, what happens, like hype, the beloved serves like a drug. You have this hype, everything is perfect, and then when he goes away, again you're left with your miserable self. So when you start to love yourself, you don't care who's around, who's not, because I can spend like hours with myself and I can do whatever I want to do. So it doesn't really, it's a very different way. And this is one of the most, like somebody said, like one of the most romantic journeys is this journey with yourself. So I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going, I know what it is. So that's you have to kind of experience that and bring your heart and soul kind of together, not this mind. And for that, let go of this idea of how you want your life to be. Live in every moment to moment, moment to moment, and then you see how life becomes.
Exactly.
Right?
You've got to live in that moment, like let go of the expectations of what you thought like your
Yeah,
life should be, because I think that's something that a lot of people hold on to.
yeah,
They're trying to sort of like let go of just the other people's expectations, I
yeah,
think, and then just bringing like just really learning to love yourself and finding out like what's good for you. I love that.
yeah.
I'm just looking at the comments here. We have, I'm probably saying the names wrong. I'm so sorry. Raja, nice to see you. Matia, hello, Millie. Good to see you
Hi.
live. Good job. People are celebrating you. Nice. Good job. Awesome.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
That is amazing. Of course, if you have any questions, just like let them know, post them in the comments. Hope you're seeing this. No, you should be. Technical issues are over. So, just a few more things.
Yeah.
Um, so we talk. Okay, so we're going. We are like nearing towards the end, and I something that I've noticed in your book, and this is kind of like a bonus question in your book, kind of like at the end of the chapter, there's sort of, I guess, reflection questions.
Mhm.
And I just want to know, how do you think that could help people in becoming like a little bit more aware?
See, I wrote an article. I keep writing things so very recently, and it was like learn, reflect, implement. You know, so remember, learn, reflect, implement. If this is not what you're doing, the circle is not complete, right? So if
Mhm.
I've read a book, like you've read my book, the book will do no good to you unless you implement, right? And that you can't do unless you reflect. So what is reflection? Asking a question from yourself. That's how you start. And if you're depressed, you ask yourself, because I think the what is holding us is usually this thought, this mind, and that is why I said you go out of the mind. So when people are depressed, what is the problem? The problem is this thought. You have to break that. And I had gone through depression a couple of times, but you have to break that. What, and then you ask yourself these questions: what happens if this is not true? Is there another way to think of it? Now, somebody asked me a question very recently that I am in the middle of this COVID crisis, and things are not working out for me. I don't have a job, or my business is not working. So what do we do? I said, find a way to look at things in a different perspective, a bit different perspective. Have a perspective which is different, which is not this. Just stop focusing on that, which is not working. Think about something else, like think about trusting God. You see? So
Mhm.
you have to move yourself from that and bring yourself to somewhere else, a position which is more, which is different, which probably transforms you. Not there in the problem, like just thinking about a problem. If you're in one, trying to find a solution, just banging your head with the problem will not help. You have to find a way where there's a different vibe to it, different energy to it, different thoughts to it. And that can only happen when you question yourself again, 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 again. Is this what you want? Is this where you're going? Why do you want to go? And I remember when I was 30 or 20, and I wrote a note saying, I know where I'm heading. You're
Mhm.
like, I know. So basically, these questions, when you ask yourself, you know it. And you don't have to prove that to anybody. You know where you're going, you know what you're doing, you know what you're up to. But this can only happen when you challenge these thoughts, negative ones especially, that put you down. And the moment you're able to, disintegrate yourself, detach yourself from those thoughts, you will be able to have more strength than the thought itself. and then you become a creator of your life. I mean, then you can have the thoughts that you want, have your dreams, have your visions, have your goals. Then that's you who are driving. But basically, because this is very difficult, the thought is so much power that it's very hard to break. So you need to find how to break it. So you change your perspective towards this. You think about a different thought. You think about a positive thought. You break, why is it coming from? Where is it coming from? There are many ways to do that. And I think that's very important.
Absolutely. The mind is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I absolutely agree that like just like changing your thoughts, like just going through the process. I love what you said, like learn, reflect, implement.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If all you're doing is reading books, you're reading self-help books,
Yeah.
you're like consulting people, you're talking to people, but you're not doing anything.
For
Um,
yourself. Yeah.
you need to like learn to like observe your thoughts, reflect, and of course like take action.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Okay,
Thank
I
you.
just want to say before I get to the last question, thank you
Yeah.
so much. I know that it's not always easy to share stories about breakups, about how we went through some of our like internal struggles and our battles, but the point behind all of this is that I've released this story that's coming out soon, and I wanted to invite like others on here to share their perspective on how they've done their own inner work, because for it could mean different things for different people. So just thank you so much for that,
Yeah.
and for being like so brave. And
Thanks
I
for
do hope
having me.
you're welcome. And
I
I do hope
enjoyed.
I'm happy about it. I love connecting with you. And I hope
Yeah.
anybody that is watching on in your community or in mine, if they do have any questions, I hope you feel inspired by this. I hope that they do somehow like could talk about their story in the future. But let's say if anyone wants to connect with you, how do we connect with you? How do we
Oh,
reach
I'm
you?
everywhere. I'm everywhere. You think of me, I'm there. Like I'm everywhere on social media. I mean, like I'm doing posts all the time if you've seen. Well, I have an email address, contact@milihaburton.com. I have a website, so you can just go directly, fill the form, and connect with me. Or I'm on Instagram. You can message me there. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. I'm everywhere. So yeah,
All
you choose the
right.
more you want to connect with me.
Exactly. No, you have like a pretty awesome Instagram account. I love your
Oh, thank
um
you.
there's someone who's just making a really sweet comment that I think you should hear. Yeah, she has helped me a lot in my hard times and I am blessed. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Amazing.
That's a good one.
Awesome. All right. So thank you so much, Malia. Thank you like for sharing your story. And we'll stay in touch. If anybody has any questions, she's in the group, guys. So you could ask her questions. They could send you private messages, right?
Yeah, yeah, of
All right.
course.
They could send you
Messages or
private messages.
email, what, yeah, whatever. Thank you
Awesome.
very much. Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed.
I'm glad to have you.